I've got a very special guest with me today, the big boss at BookMyShow, Ashish, joining us right here on ET Now. Ashish, good to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking the time out. My first question, you folks at BookMyShow had such grand plans, and then along came coronavirus, which meant all of us had to be locked in. We couldn't go for any of those open events, whether it was Trevor Noah or whether it was the music concerts that you were planning. How did you tackle COVID-19 and the lockdown?
Well, you make plans for yourself, and life throws curveballs at you. The only solace that we can take in all of this is that the whole world is going through it, and we are far better than most, not only personally but as an organization. Organization's health and safety and health of everybody in our company and their family and friends. So we're very fortunate and thankful, and no complaints there. But we looked at COVID slightly differently. We not only looked at the people that we need to take care of, which is our employees, and we ran tons of programs for them, including a mental helpline. We have something where every day we touch base with each other on WhatsApp groups. The whole company is divided at 10 a.m. in the morning and 10 p.m. just to check on each other if everybody is well, from health and safety, all of that. But we also took care of our shareholders by making sure that we cut our costs down and ran a frugal ship and a frugal company by trimming the fat. In terms of the community, we served 75,000 meals, 1,000 breakfasts every day for the health frontline workers and health workers. And we also ran the BMC's extension for helpline. And we did charity across, through our charity initiative, Book a Smile. And for the first time, we funded programs outside. And then finally, for our consumers, I think the thing that we did is that we said, we've got to continue to entertain. And we said, even if the lights are out, one of the things we've got to do is continue to entertain and put digital content out there. For the first couple of months, or maybe 3 months, we didn't even charge a single rupee for any of our digital offerings. And we said, this is our obligation. We've had so much love for so many years, and this is our little payback to our customers to say that we will entertain you even at home.
As they say, the show must go on. I think of Freddie Mercury when I'm talking to you right now, and I use that phrase. But it's been very true during the lockdown. So when you say that, you didn't charge, you made it free for the first couple of months. Ashish, I would also imagine, on the other hand, your hands were tied, because now what's also happened is that whether we're in New Delhi, in Bengaluru, or in Indore, we don't have to only go to BookMyShow. We can go to the whole wide web. The whole world is literally out there. So the competition must have been extremely fierce to grab the eyeballs.
Look, the way I look at it is that our philosophy on our business doesn't change, and what we build and continue to build for our customers. This I look at is as the great pause. We're not in the digital business, we're in the physical business. We help consumers step out of their home, make plans, go for movies, go to live concerts, buy tickets. And then we're sitting on rich data to be able to offer a lot more to our customers.
So Ashish, we're talking at a time when the standard operating procedures are out for the cinema halls. Only packaged food, seats have to be left in the middle. Air conditioning has to be 24 to 30 degrees Celsius. The big cities of Delhi and Mumbai still not included, but some business, I guess, is better than no business. What's your take on the multiplexes and the cinemas reopening? Are you expecting people to go to the box office in the first phase?
Well, firstly, I must thank the government for, hearing and taking the right steps from locking down to then opening up. And the writing is on the wall. I mean, people may say, it was too harsh, it was too early, but we have to understand that our set of circumstances in India were probably different, given that our social distancing, you can't practice that in other sparse nations or places that have more infrastructure. We need more hospital beds, and you need that the flow of consumers, of patients going in to be, you need to manage that tap. And therefore, the lockdown was, to the best of the ability, was done in a manner that people would be able to, the country would be able to handle it. Now that there is an opening, we have a campaign which is My Safety First. And it's just not a campaign for consumers, but it is at the heart of it and at the back of it, strong safety and SOP measures that we've put, which mirror what the government wants us to do, from keeping distance between certain seats, having vacant seats, um, how the food will be sold. Will you be able to buy a ticket online only? Will you be able to go to the box office? What is the interaction with your payment systems, with the security guard? How will your temperature be checked? How will you hand sanitize? How many people will have to stand in line before they go to the loo? Um, and the norms around 50% occupancy. Even though Bombay and Delhi are not opening, I feel that in a next couple of days, we will have certain guidelines for opening Bombay and Delhi. And only then will it make sense for all the films to release it, and because they're all ready. The films are ready and they're canned and they're waiting to be released. But I think there's a lot of other content which is already available out there, which can start piecemeal in the markets that have already opened up. And then you wait for markets like Bombay and Delhi for the large releases to come in, which will be, once the government announces the guidelines from these two particular states or cities. So we're ready with the My Safety SOPs and campaign to give the confidence to the consumers. I feel consumers will come back. Our sense is that there would be at least a 25 to 30% occupancy to begin with, and then going to a max of 50%, which the guidelines are. And then as the cinemas open up, we will have more and more people coming in. So we feel pretty confident that we're making a start, and we're pretty excited about the start.
But Ashish, the Delhi government did say it will reopen. Arvind Kejriwal, the chief minister, for example, is trying to do a lot more for business, whether it's for restaurants to be open 24/7, the cinema hall announcement also that came in. So just picking up from what you said, are you also in a way trying to say that maybe the multiplexes and the exhibitionists still have to figure if it makes complete sense to release the big titles that they paid perhaps big bucks for in 50% capacity, and therefore you may not see the blockbusters in the initial release? Or could that be the way to actually get them to come?
No, what I was trying to say is, if all markets are not open, then the blockbusters will have a problem, because you want you want a maximum, you want a wide release.
Yeah.
And the way to handle the 50% is that you can have more shows allocated to those blockbusters. So what used to happen is that you would have normally 3 screens showing a blockbuster and the other 2 screens playing another film. But now if there's a blockbuster, maybe all 5 screens can show that film. So you're adding that extra 50% capacity on those 2 screens. You can cut down on intermission time. You can have the turnover time differentiated. You can extend the number of hours of operating at a cinema to increase the number of shows. So it allows you the opportunity to catch up. You could even, and this is just my idea, it's not from the multiplexes, have a price point where you may charge slightly more to make sure that you're not hurting in terms of the release and the revenues that flow back to the producers. So the point that I was trying to allude to is that until all markets don't open up, it may not make sense to release some of these blockbusters, but there is enough content from Hollywood and regional and all of that, which makes sense to open up right now, even with 50% occupancy.
But Ashish, I'm playing devil's advocate here. You're saying that initially you might see capacity of 25 to 30%. It's during IPL season, Navratras are going to begin. This is not the time that you would normally see people go to the movie theater. On top of that, of course, there's that fear of the coronavirus. I don't know if that is bigger in the metros as opposed to the smaller towns. Isn't that also going to all play up in filling up the seats, in selling the tickets? And on top of that, the multiplexes overheads will go up, obviously.
Look, I've been doing this business for 21 years. And, and we've been involved with IPL for the last 12 to 14 years. The first couple of years, the fear was there that movies shouldn't release during IPL. I don't know if you remember that, but no movies were used to release during the IPL period. For the last 5 or 7 years, movies, all blockbusters released during IPL. There are consumers that want to watch that. There are consumers that want to watch that. Not everybody watches all games. The movie is playing on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, every day of the week. So if you want to watch a game on a Monday, but you don't want to watch your team is not playing on Wednesday, that's the day you go and watch a movie. So I think that fear, if you've seen and just look at what history tells us and all the data that tells us over the last 5 and 7 years, is that films released during IPL and they all successfully did well.
You brought up Trevor Noah, and I had also, before that, I want to now ask you, how was that experience? You know, it was sold out. I know it was sold out because I was trying to buy a ticket, and then you had to increase capacity, then that also got sold out. But then obviously the show got cancelled. The entire process of refunding, I don't know where it stands with Trevor Noah, whether he's going to come to India anytime soon. Can you tell us to that? That must have been one big ordeal to go through.
Well, yes and no. We've done this for 21 years of our life. Shows get cancelled. It happens all the time. We've had concerts because of act of God. We've had concerts getting cancelled because of talent. We've had concerts cancelled because of a threat, weather. It happens all the time, and we try and minimize the disruption to our talent partners and to our consumers. We've done this all our life, and we made sure that we don't hide under the garb that put your money in a wallet and then hold your money in a wallet and actually we keep the money and it's in some credit shell. We always refund the money. We give the money back the way you want it. It was in your credit card, we give it back to you. It was in your net banking, UPI, whatever, we give it. We don't hide behind the fact that we are holding onto your money and then saying you've got to utilize it with us. So that's always been our philosophy, to build the confidence in consumers. And this happens all the time. It's not the first time. However, this time it was harsh because this was one concert that you know of, or one event with Trevor Noah. Right now, as we speak, we had more than 100 large events and maybe close to 500 or 700 small events, which all got cancelled. Now, to a lot of our talent partners who can't afford it, we've still kept the money with them. We haven't asked for the money back because I know that they're hurting because their livelihood has gotten affected. And we as an organization are fortunate that we've built in a company which has an EBIT margin, has adequate funding, and is secure. This is the time for us to step up rather than ask for the money back. And so we've kept the money with our talent partners. We've returned the money to our consumers, and we're in a holding pattern till life comes back. Now, the challenge is talent is willing to come back. They're all ready. And some of the guys that are single acts will easily come, right? We can have certain SOPs for them. They can stand on stage. The challenge is that we need to do a touring market for international talent. They need to for it to make sense, they need to do markets around India. They need to do markets in, the Pacific region or Southeast Asia or even Europe for it to be a tour for them, for it to make sense. And therefore, we took all our talent partners. And since the lockdown, we've done over 7,000 concerts and events with the same international and local talent on BookMyShow. And 70% of them are now paid for today. And we saw a massive increase in that same content on BookMyShow, and a large part of it was exclusive. It was not available on some other platform because we helped them monetize to some extent. But each of those talents are willing to come back. We have a very, very rich pipeline. They've all committed to it. We just don't know yet. Will it be 2021 towards the end? Will it start in 2022? We want to be cautious. We want to be careful. We don't want to do gimmicky stuff and saying, we'll do a drive-in thing. You sit in your car and then you watch a concert, or you come in a group of 4 and we'll put you on a platform. It's all gimmicky. We want to make sure that when people come in, they enjoy the concert and get their money's worth the way they intended it to be. And so we don't know till the vaccine comes in how the virology will be, how weak will this get, will the pandemic truly be over, and for people to have the confidence to step out. So when that happens, you will see this entire pipeline coming through.
And Ashish, you said how you stood by your people that you work with. You also stood by your customers by refunding them the way they wanted to be. My next question is then, you said you had free entertainment out there. Now it's become paid, there's subscription, all of that. Can you give us an idea of what kind of entertainment really worked during the lockdown?
Right. So let me use the most recent example, and I think that's also because of the love that BookMyShow has, and it's been a lesson in life for all of us at BookMyShow, and we take that very seriously, that responsibility. We have. I don't know if you recall or you had visited us that time when we had done Cirque du Soleil in Bombay and Delhi, and that was my passion project purely because growing up. Circus has been a very integral part of any childhood dream because of the boundaries that the human body is pushed towards. And then you've got, it has no language barriers. It tugs at your heartstrings, where you can make somebody laugh, you can make somebody cry. There's nostalgia for the adults, but there's and the people that have grown up watching circus, but there's wonderment for the kids, and there's all of that. And so we brought in Cirque du Soleil into India, and then we worked with Rambo Circus, who we've grown up on, and we worked with Rambo Circus to help support and raise their standard. And while we were working with them during the pandemic, there was a period where the founder of Rambo Circus, who comes from a circus family, and he's put his heart and soul, his family, his life, his houses he sold, and to save the circus, he reached out where the people that run the circus and the artists that run the circus did not have money to eat for the next meal. I mean, they were literally on the streets and they didn't have any money. So our charity, Book a Smile, stepped up, and we supported the circus by making sure that they were safe and secure and they had food to eat. I mean, it was literally, this is not as dramatic as I'm getting. It is exactly how it happened. And we helped them tide over this period. And then we decided to work with Rambo Circus to move them digitally and produce with our partners. We produced that event, and we called it Life as a Circus. And we sold tickets online, and we had 60,000 people that watched the circus after buying tickets. And the whole hashtag was Save the Circus. And consumers who love us literally just for that hashtag came on and said, we shouldn't let the circus die. And then we had interactive sessions with the clowns doing magic tricks, and kids were buying separate tickets. And now we are helping Rambo Circus go digital, even more deeper and wider, spreading the net across the country, and coming up with a differential experience and an international experience for them to now look at the urban markets that they can go to and make the circus a far better and a pleasurable experience, right from the food to the way the reception tent is, and the way the actors and the performers will interact with people, and the corporate events that we'll do. So that was a great analogy and an example that I could give on how this worked for us. So circus was very important. I think the other one that was good was comedy and live events, but again, not the live events which were visual spectacles, but these were more acoustic and more smaller sets with 3 people or 2 people. But it was not the visual, like a U2 is U2 because you're on stage. But it was also personal lives of artists performing in their home, because this gave you a view into their bedroom or into their living room, and how they were in their home and what they were doing in the lockdown and how they looked in the lockdown and how they were conducting themselves in the lockdown. So it was more about not so much the entertainment, but a peek into people's lives. And I think those are the themes that have really worked for us.
Ashish, since I'm running out of time, I also want to just get a little bit about the business. You told me how you had to go through cost cutting. You came on record to say how 270 employees had been impacted. I don't know if you're going back into the expansion mode, but just going forward, I'm sure the last couple of months must have been tough as well. Will you go in for another fundraise? Are you seeing business come back? You said how normalcy may only return, you don't know if in 2021 or 2022.
Right. So I'll take that question in 2 parts. Number one, every business had to trim their costs. There was no option. We still don't know how deep and how long this can run. And therefore, for us, cutting costs from an employee perspective was the last thing that we did. We did a lot of other stuff in terms of renegotiating rents, cutting other costs, travel, boarding, lodging. We cut down servers. We cut down a lot of other costs to be able to then use this as the last resort. But even there, we did it measured and over a period of time, where there were furloughs and there were, we had to lay off employees. But, we didn't know how deep and how wide this could be. And even today, the guys that are staying on, we still have salary cuts. We've been able to plow back some of it, but, that is the reality. But what this has taught us is that we will have to trim our waistline for for the foreseeable future, and to get businesses to be more efficient. And I think every business leader and entrepreneur will be thinking about the same thing on how to get more efficient now that we've gone through this. So that was one. The second part to your question was in terms of, are we going for a fundraise? We're adequately funded. The good thing about BookMyShow is that we're a company which doesn't talk about just customer acquisition or CAC over LTV or vice versa, or we will have a light at the end of the tunnel. We are a real business. We make money from the get-go. We involve ourselves in businesses that make money for us. That is the purpose of the business. What you do for community, what you do for your customers, what you do for employees is separate. But the purpose is to draw from society, create value, and then give back to society. And I have a fiduciary responsibility to my shareholders. So we make money. And so we're adequately funded to take on the pandemic as long as it lasts. And all we are focusing on is building newer products, creating disruption in the products that we build, innovating as much as we can, and being as agile and nimble in the next 12 to 18 months. If it comes back in 6 months, it's a bonus plus. If it comes back in 12 months, great, we're happy. If it takes 18 to 24 months, we're prepared for it, no problem.
Okay, so basically BookMyShow is resilient, is the big takeaway that I'm getting from you. And Ashish, this will be my last question. You know, what we've seen during the pandemic is also this whole drive for vocal for local, which in the events business, if I could put it that way, has resulted in, you know, neighborhoods getting together and organizing events, selling it for tickets. What can BookMyShow do for that space? And the second one, gaming. What a big industry that's turning out to be, even before COVID, but especially during COVID. Does that excite BookMyShow at all?
Yeah, so on the resilience part, people ask us, are you a unicorn? And I say, no, we are cockroaches. We've survived 21 years. We've gone through the dot-com bust, the global financial crisis, and COVID. In a nuclear holocaust or in a microwave oven, you'll find us. We'll still be around and multiplying. So that's us, cockroaches. On the resilience part, on the other one, where you, sorry, come again, which was the other thing that you said. I lost you in your laughter.
I wanted to ask you this, you know, this vocal for local drive. What we've also seen is, you know, like neighborhoods get together, organize localized events. Is there an opportunity at all for BookMyShow?
Right, and then gaming as well. Correct. So on vocal for local, look, we have been supporting the Indian film industry, and I say Indian because I mean regional Marathi. We've had such a phenomenal run in 2018, 2019 with Marathi films, with Bengali films. All the work that we do, we're very regional. We're in 680 cities and towns. We're doing events and shows and stand-up. Stand-up in Tamil and Hindi has been the biggest discovery. And so we continue to focus on working with the artist community, giving them a platform, giving them real revenue as a catalyst and a conduit. And in this lockdown, we've actually pushed the pedal even further on curating more artists and discovering those and creating a platform and reaching out to our artist community and through our agents and managers, the guys that we know, to be able to get more and more of these guys and put them up on digital so that the cost of execution is far low. As we see green shoots and responses, then we are preparing for a world where all of these artists will be put on stage at some point of time. We're working with our international partners to do certain events in India where our Indian artists will be given a platform on the world stage with collaborative efforts and eventually be taken to global platforms using this as a conduit to take them there. So there's a ton of work, and that has been the ethos of the company. It's just that given the pandemic, we pushed the envelope even further because now we, at a very, very low cost, can get this out there and get the responses. So that's to answer your first question. In terms of digital events or gaming, we've always had gaming where we do physical games where people come and play games like Fortnite, or they play various games, and then we sell tickets. Those are the events that we've been working on. But gaming is something where I divide the world into casual gaming and then hardcore gaming or console gaming, and then gaming for money, which is where you have a game of skill, not a game of chance, which is where you create fantasy leagues. So the gaming industry has many avatars. And while we're working with some of our partners on the casual gaming side, we also work with one of our partners on the fantasy league side. And then there's physical gaming, which right now has come to a stop because those are the events. So we dabble with it while it may not be a core, but the conduit to buying tickets, getting and pushing consumers, and obviously catering to a more daily use case rather than a monthly use case, and a far younger demographic is something which is always on the top of our mind.
Ashish, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You said it, not me, that BookMyShow is like a cockroach. It's going to always be around. So here's wishing you all the very best for your cockroach life.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. It was really nice talking to you.